You wake up, and before your mind even begins to process the day, you feel it, a quiet, inexplicable heaviness anchoring your legs to the bed. There is a subtle tightening in the chest, a familiar pressure that whispers you're already behind on a race you never wanted to run. You might call it stress, or perhaps you blame it on getting older. But what if this physical weight is not a medical condition or a psychological failing? What if it is a profound biological rebellion happening deep within yourself? Think about your daily routines and the quiet spaces of your life. You have likely tried to do everything right. You seek balance. You try to stay positive. And you might even walk barefoot on the earth to ground yourself in the present moment. Yet, a quiet exhaustion still rests deep within your bones. The life you have built feels strangely like a beautifully decorated waiting room. The conversations you have feel rehearsed, and the roles you play sit heavy on your shoulders, like a comforting but suffocating blanket. When you sit in silence, trying to find that promised inner peace, a sudden restlessness creeps in. Your hands need to move. Your mind wants to scroll, and a flutter in the stomach urges you to distract yourself immediately. We are taught to label this as anxiety, a lack of focus, or a sign that we need more grounding. But in the hidden physics of consciousness, this is known as the skip reflex. It is not anxiety. It is the raw, electric friction of your nervous system actively rejecting a reality that no longer fits your soul. Your body is attempting to shed a persona you have outgrown. The archonic interference, the invisible, exhausting programming of the modern world wants you to interpret this friction as a personal failure. It wants you to feel broken, so you will keep seeking external fixes, keeping your energy safely tethered to the ground. But there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. Awakening is not always a blinding burst of light. Sometimes, it feels exactly like outgrowing your own life. It is a gentle, natural process of your consciousness trying to drift upward. Notice your breathing right now. If you are feeling a sudden lightness in your chest, or if that familiar tension is beginning to loosen just a fraction, your body already recognizes this truth. You do not have to carry the weight of a world you're ready to leave behind. If you are ready to stop fighting your own evolution and step into a lighter, more authentic existence, subscribe and join our community of conscious minds. We are walking this path together, stepping out of the magnetic cage, one gentle realization at a time. To understand why your body feels this immense, unexplainable gravity, we must look beyond psychology and step into the elegant, invisible world of physics. In his groundbreaking work, Stalking the Wild Pendulum, scientist Itzhak Bentov revealed a beautiful, undeniable truth. You are not merely a solid object moving blindly through time. At your most fundamental, biological level, you are an oscillating field of energy. You are a symphony of frequencies, vibrating in continuous, silent conversation with the universe around you. For most of your life, your internal frequency has been perfectly matched to the external world. You are smoothly tuned to the station of your current identity, your daily job, your relationships, and the collective rhythm of society. This matching creates a profound sense of stability. But spiritual evolution is not just a poetic metaphor. It is a literal, biological increase in your baseline frequency. As your consciousness expands, your inner signal begins to jump to a higher, broader bandwidth. You sit on your comfortable couch, surrounded by everything you have worked so hard to acquire. You look at the walls of your home, the life you have built, yet a profound, aching homesickness washes over you. You feel homesick for a place you cannot name, while sitting right inside your own living room. This is the moment your preconscious awareness realizes the mismatch. Your soul has changed its address, but your daily life is still trying to deliver mail to the old location. Now imagine you are a highly sensitive radio receiver. For years, you have been playing a familiar, comfortable station. Suddenly, your internal dials turn, reaching for a new, clearer broadcast. But because you have been taught that safety lies in the familiar, your ego panics. You try to force the dial back to the old station. You try to anchor or ground yourself back into the reality you are supposed to inhabit. Consider this for a moment. What happens when a radio is caught between two distinct frequencies? It does not produce a harmonious blend of music. It produces static. It produces a harsh, grating noise that makes you want to turn it off completely. This static is precisely what you're experiencing in your physical body right now: a sudden anxiety, mental fog, or that relentless flutter in your stomach. Watch what happens in your body during these moments of forced normalcy. Notice the sudden sleepiness that washes over you when you're sitting in a meeting that no longer serves your group. Notice the heaviness in your limbs when you force yourself to engage in social conversations that feel utterly hollow. This is not a medical failing or a sign of depression. This is biological static. It is the raw friction of your upgraded nervous system colliding with an outdated environment. This brings us to the profound paradox of grounding. We are often told that when we feel unmoored, scattered, or disconnected, we must ground ourselves. We are advised to walk barefoot, to reconnect with the earth, to pull our energy down into the physical plane to find peace. But what if the earth, in its current dense energetic state, is broadcasting on a frequency you have already surpassed? When you force a newly expanded consciousness to tether itself back to a denser, slower vibration, you are not creating harmony. You are creating a state of destructive interference. You are essentially trying to plug a high-voltage system into a low-voltage socket. The resulting blowout is the profound fatigue you feel at the end of a seemingly normal, uneventful day. The exhaustion is not because you are doing too much physically. It is because you are suppressing too much of your true self energetically. The pain of your current reality is simply the gap between who you have become and the environment you are still trying to fit into. The security guards of your old identity are working overtime, trying to patrol the borders of a self that no longer exists. They demand you stay grounded, but your soul is demanding flight. Let that sink in. You are not failing at life. You are succeeding at evolution. Your physical body is simply carrying the heavy mathematics of that beautiful transition. When we hear words like archonic interference or the matrix, our minds often conjure images of dark, towering entities or sinister, cinematic forces working against us. But the architecture of this reality is far more elegant and far more intimate than that. The ultimate trap is not built of fear. It is built of comfort. The interference does not arrive as a terrifying monster in the night. It arrives as the soft, soothing glow of your smartphone screen at the end of a tiring day. It arrives as the perfectly acceptable, completely secure job that quietly drains your vital energy year after year. It manifests as the stable, conflict-free relationships where you are loved for the persona you pretend to be, rather than the vast consciousness you actually are. This is the true nature of the archonic tether. It is a system of profound, biological sedation designed to keep your frequency exactly where it is useful, functional, predictable, and deeply asleep. Think about the moments when your soul tries to initiate a quantum leap. You feel a sudden surge of inspiration, a deep knowing that you must change your life. But almost immediately, a profound lethargy washes over you. Your limbs feel heavy. Your brain suddenly craves sugar, mindless entertainment, or the familiar warmth of your most comforting habits. We are taught to view these cravings as personal weaknesses or poor discipline. But what if they are highly sophisticated defense mechanisms of the system? Carl Jung warned us about the danger of seeking absolute harmony. He understood that the pursuit of a frictionless life often kills the alchemical fire required for a true transformation. When your nervous system begins to recalibrate to a higher frequency, the archonic programming triggers a false alarm in your physical body. It sends signals of panic, disguised as the sudden, overwhelming need to self-soothe. It weaponizes your own biology against your evolution. Consider the modern approach to healing and self-care. We are constantly sold methods to ground ourselves, to find inner peace and to manage our stress. But look closely at what we are actually doing. Too often, we are using meditation, mindfulness, and grounding techniques not to awaken, but to build up enough tolerance to survive a reality that is fundamentally toxic to our spirit. We try to heal ourselves just enough to remain quiet prisoners in a magnetic cage. If these words are resonating with you, if you feel a strange, undeniable tightness in your chest or a sudden urge to look away, pause for a moment. That resistance is the exact signature of the tether trying to maintain its grip. You are standing at the edge of a timeline pivot point. If you are ready to start managing your symptoms and start addressing the root of your cosmic confinement, subscribe and walk this path with us. The truth is heavy, but carrying it together makes us weightless. Let us look at how this tether operates in your daily life. Have you ever noticed that the moment you decide to step into your authentic power, an artificial crisis suddenly erupts? Your car breaks down, a minor family drama demands your attention, or you are hit with an inexplicable bout of physical illness. This is not coincidence. This is the viscosity of the matrix. It is the dense, sticky resistance of a reality attempting to pull your oscillating frequency back into a manageable bandwidth. The system does not want your suffering. It simply wants your kinetic energy. It feeds on the friction between your soul's desire to expand and your ego's desperate need to stay safe. Every time you compromise your truth to keep the peace, every time you swallow your authentic voice to avoid rocking the boat, you are actively choosing the earthbound gravity of the cage over the sovereign flight of your consciousness. Notice the subtle numbness that creeps into your jaw or your shoulders when you agree to something you deeply despise. That physical sensation is not just stress. It is the somatic signature of a soul contracting. You are literally compressing your vast, multidimensional energy field into a tiny, socially acceptable box. The exhaustion you feel is the immense energetic cost of maintaining that compression day in and day out. You do not need to fight these archonic tethers with anger or fear. Fighting them only feeds them the emotional intensity they require to exist. The key to dismantling this invisible architecture is not resistance, but profound, radical recognition. Once you see the bars of the cage, once you recognize that your most comforting habits are often your most effective wardens, the illusion begins to collapse on its own. The cage only holds you as long as you believe it is your home. Picture this. You are sitting in your living room, the television mumming in the background, scrolling endlessly through a feed of strangers' lives. You feel the life force draining from you, yet you cannot bring yourself to put the device down. This paralysis is the archonic tether in its purest form. It is using your natural human desire for connection to isolate you entirely. It is keeping you tethered to the ground, safely distracted from the immense power sleeping at the base of your spine. To break this cycle, you must begin to view your daily comforts not as safe havens, but as potential sedatives. You must learn to distinguish between the deep, restorative rest your body genuinely needs, and the anesthetizing habits the system uses to keep you asleep. This requires a gentle but unflinching honesty with yourself. The moment you stop using the Earth's density to numb your own expansion, you prepare the ground for a natural, effortless ascension. The realization that you have been holding yourself back to maintain a false peace can feel overwhelming. But true spiritual recalibration does not require you to wage a violent war against your current life. In fact, fighting the matrix with aggression only tangles you deeper within its viscosity. What is required instead is a gentle, radical surrender to your own upward momentum. We call this the natural drift protocol. It is the conscious decision to stop trying to anchor a ship that is meant to sail, Imagine a buoy floating peacefully on the ocean. It does not resist the rising tide. It simply rises with it. Your consciousness operates on the same fluid mechanics. When you stop forcing yourself to ground into situations, relationships, or daily routines that feel intensely heavy, your baseline frequency naturally begins to elevate. You do not need to fix yourself. You are not broken. You simply need to stop interfering with your own natural ascension to begin this beautiful, close-to-life process of untangling. We must first establish what we call recognition windows. Throughout your day, the system will attempt to pull you back into a state of automated, preconscious awareness. You will find yourself mindlessly agreeing to requests or staring blankly at a screen, unaware of how much time has passed. A recognition window is a deliberate, gentle pause. It is a moment where you stop, look round your physical space, and gently pull your awareness back into the present moment without judging it. Watch what happens in your body during these moments of sudden clarity. When you open a recognition window, you might notice a sudden softening in your jaw, or a spontaneous, deep exhale that you did not consciously initiate. This is your nervous system registering safety. It is the physical sensation of your soul recognizing that, for this brief second, you are not being run by the ego's survival programming. You are simply observing the machinery, rather than being ground up inside it. But observation must be paired with deep, compassionate discernment. How do you know if you are genuinely resting, or if you are succumbing to system sedation? This brings us to the linger test. The next time you feel the overwhelming urge to escape, whether through endless scrolling, overeating, or mindless television, do not immediately forbid yourself from doing it. Do not punish yourself. Instead, pause and ask your body a very specific question. Is this activity regenerating my life force, or is it merely pausing my evolution? Pay close attention to the somatic response. True rest brings a feeling of wall expansion in the chest and a softening of the muscles. It feels restorative, filling your cup quietly and completely. Chronic sedation, however, feels entirely different. It often carries a hollow, slightly numb sensation in the gut. It feels like a temporary anesthetic rather than true nourishment. Once you learn to feel this physical difference in your daily life, the magnetic pull of those numbing habits begins to dissolve naturally, without the need for a harsh discipline. As you practice the linger test and stop forcing yourself into dense frequencies, your energetic field begins to clear. The static fades. This is when the phenomenon of synchronistic magnetism begins to activate. Carl Jung taught us that synchronicities are not mere coincidences. They are the external manifestations of an internal shift. When your frequency is no longer masked by the heavy static of false grounding, the universe can finally communicate with you clearly. You will start noticing numbers repeating on the clock. You might hear a stranger say the exact phrase you were just thinking about. A book might fall off a shelf right in front of you. Do not dismiss these moments. They are not random glitches in a cold universe. They are the breadcrumbs of your soul's memory, guiding you toward your true trajectory. They are timeline pivot points, brief, luminous opportunities to make a choice that aligns with your highest, most authentic self. When you encounter a timeline pivot point, do not overanalyze it with your rational mind. Your rational mind is often a loyal, terrified employee of the ego, trying to maintain the old boundaries. Instead, lean into the gentle curiosity it sparks. If you suddenly feel a strong, unexplainable urge to take a different route home from work, take it. If a specific topic suddenly fascinates you, explore it. This is your recognition consciousness taking the wheel, steering you out of the magnetic cage. The natural drift protocol is not a set of rigid, exhausting rules to add to your already full life. It is a process of subtraction. It is the warm, forgiving practice of letting go of the heavy sandbags you mistakenly thought were keeping you safe. As you release the need to force your energy down, you will find that the persistent, anxious flutter in your stomach transforms into a profound, quiet anticipation. You are shedding the weight of the world, preparing your spirit for its inevitable flight. There comes a quiet moment in this journey when the fear of losing your old life is suddenly replaced by a profound, unshakable relief. You look at the scaffolding of your past, the expectations, the heavy routines, the comfortable but suffocating rules, and you realize you no longer need to hold them up. Awakening often feels like a slow dismantling, a death of the self you pretended to be. But this death is not a tragedy. It is the ultimate act of biological and spiritual liberation. For so long, you were told that to be a spiritual, balanced human being, you had to firmly plant your feet in the dirt. No matter how much the earth's frequency dragged you down, you were taught to carry the world's weight as a badge of honor. But as you release the need to force your energy into those dense, archonic tethers, a beautiful transformation occurs. The static in your mind begins to fade, replaced by the clear, resonant hum of your original soul blueprint. Watch what happens in your body during these moments of surrender. Notice how your breathing, perhaps shallow and tight for years, suddenly drops deep into your diaphragm, unblocked and effortless. The persistent, low-grade ache in your shoulders begins to dissolve. This is not just relaxation. This is the somatic signature of true sovereignty. Your nervous system is finally standing down from its lifelong state of defensive alert. It recognizes that the war is over, simply because you have chosen to stop fighting. Picture this. You are standing in a vast, open field at dawn. For years, you have been wearing a heavy suit of armor, believing it was the only thing keeping you safe from the cold. But as the sun rises, you realize the armor is precisely what is keeping you frozen. Unbuckling it and letting it fall to the ground is terrifying at first. Yet, as the morning air touches your skin, the terror is instantly replaced by the warmth of undeniable freedom. This is the essence of the natural drift. The matrix does not hold you by force. It holds you by your own mistaken belief that you need its gravity to survive. When you finally understand that the heavy, restless exhaustion was never your fault, that it was merely the friction of a growing soul confined in a shrinking cave, the illusion shatters entirely. You stop trying to heal yourself to fit a sick society, and instead, you simply allow yourself to outgrow it. Consider this paradox. The more you try to fix your life through the lens of the ego, the more permanent your problems become. The ego uses your desire for healing as a tool to keep you endlessly looping in the same frequency, analyzing your wounds until they define you. But true sovereignty requires no analysis. It requires the courage to simply walk away from the operating table. Your soul is not a project to be managed. It is a radiant force meant to be experienced. Let that sink in for a moment. You do not need another grounding meditation to fix the flutter in your stomach. You do not need to punish yourself for a feeling disconnected from the mundane conversations around you. That disconnection is your compass. It is your preconscious awareness gently reminding you that your true home is not found by digging deeper into the mud. Your true home is the vast, expanding frequency you are currently calibrating toward. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, the day will present its familiar demands. The old timeline will attempt to pull you back into its predictable rhythm. But this time, you have the protocol. When the heaviness tries to settle in your legs, simply open a recognition window. Acknowledge the weight, smile at the old archonic programming, and consciously choose to let your consciousness drift upward. You no longer have to carry the sandbags of false peace. You are sovereign. Your frequency belongs entirely to you. If this message has brought a sense of lightness to your chest, if it has named the invisible exhaustion you have carried for so long, you are already stepping out of the cage. Subscribe and walk forward with us. We are leaving the gravity of the old world behind, not with anger or fear, but with the quiet, triumphant grace of a soul remembering how to fly.